In the beginning, there was nothing, no sky, no earth, no sea. It was a vast empty void, and silence hung over everything. The universe was in complete stillness, as if waiting for something to break the quiet. Then, out of the darkness, a voice spoke. A voice full of power, authority, and mystery. Let there be light. And just like that, light exploded into existence. Brilliant, radiant, and pure light filled the universe, casting away the darkness. God saw the light was good, and he separated it from the darkness, calling the light day and the darkness night. This was the first day. Part 1. The magnificent creation. On the second day, God stretched out his hand, creating the sky, a vast expanse that separated the waters above from the waters below. The sky was like a great canopy above the earth, and God saw that it was good. On the third day, God gathered the waters together, letting the dry land appear. As the earth revealed itself, plants and trees of every kind burst forth. The world was suddenly filled with color: green grass, towering trees, flowers in every shape and hue, and fruits of all kinds, ready to nourish the earth. On the fourth day, God placed the sun to rule over the day, bringing warmth and light. He set the moon to shine during the night, guiding the hours of darkness, and he scattered the stars across the sky like precious gems. The heavens were alive with wonder. On the fifth day, the seas were filled with life. Fish of all sizes swam in the waters, from the smallest minnows to the great whales that moved like giants in the deep. The skies were filled with birds soaring freely, each species unique and beautiful in its own way. On the sixth day, God created all the animals of the earth, creatures that crawled, flew, or walked the ground. From the mighty lion to the gentle deer, the earth teemed with life. But God's most precious creation was yet to come. God formed the first man, Adam, from the dust of the ground, shaping him with his hands. He breathed into Adam's nostrils the breath of life, and Adam became a living being. God looked at Adam and saw that he was alone. So he caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and from his rib he formed the first woman, Eve. Together, Adam and Eve were placed in a garden called Eden. The garden was a paradise, a place of peace, beauty, and harmony, where man and woman lived in perfect relationship with God and with creation. Part 2. The Garden of Eden and the Test of Obedience. Eden was a perfect world. Every tree in the garden was full of fruit. Every river flowed with clear, refreshing water, and every animal lived in harmony. There was no pain, no fear, only love and beauty in every corner of creation. Adam and Eve were given everything they could ever need. God had provided for them abundantly, and they were free to enjoy all the wonders of the garden. But there was one tree that stood out among all the others, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam and Eve that they could eat from any tree in the garden, except this one. He warned them, saying, "You shall not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day that you eat of it, you will surely die." This was a test of trust, obedience, and love. Would they trust God's wisdom and follow his command? Would they live in the freedom he had given them, or would they seek to become like God, deciding for themselves what is good and evil? Part 3. The Fall of Humanity. One day, while Adam and Eve were walking through the garden, a serpent appeared. The serpent was more cunning than any of the animals God had made, and it spoke to Eve in a soft, persuasive voice. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" Eve, surprised by the question, replied, "We may eat the fruit from all the trees, but God said, 'You shall not eat from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, nor shall you touch it, or you will die.'" The serpent smiled and whispered, "You will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Eve hesitated. The fruit on the tree looked beautiful, and the thought of becoming wise like God was tempting. She reached out and took a bite of the forbidden fruit. Then she gave some to Adam, and he ate as well. Immediately, their eyes were opened. They realized they were naked. Shame and fear flooded their hearts, emotions they had never known before. They sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. When they heard God walking in the garden, they hid among the trees. God called out, "Where are you?" Adam answered, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God asked, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?" Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent, but no excuse could undo the consequences of their disobedience. Part 4. The consequences of the fall. God, in his justice, could not allow sin to remain in his perfect creation. He pronounced judgment on the serpent, on Eve, and on Adam. To the serpent, he said, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all cattle and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you shall go, and you shall eat dust all the days of your life." To Eve, God said, "I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." To Adam, God said, "Because you have heeded the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life." God then made garments for Adam and Eve, using the skins of animals to cover their nakedness. Even in their sin, God showed mercy, but the consequences were unavoidable. Adam and Eve were banished from the Garden of Eden. No longer would they live in paradise. The world outside the garden was harsh and filled with struggle. Thorns and thistles would grow among their crops, and they would experience pain and death. Yet even in his judgment, God promised a future hope. He said to the serpent, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." This was the first promise of a Savior who would come to defeat sin and restore what was lost in Eden. Part 5. The Lessons of Genesis. The story of Genesis is not just the account of how the world began. It is a reminder of God's creation, love, and plan for humanity. From Genesis we learn, that God is the creator of all things, and his creation is good. That our choices matter, and disobedience brings consequences. That even in our mistakes, God's grace is greater than our failures. Adam and Eve's story did not end with their fall, and neither does ours. Though we fall short, God's mercy invites us back to him. His plan of redemption was set into motion even in the garden, and it would ultimately lead to the cross, the place where sin would be defeated once and for all. A hopeful future. The next time you see the sunrise, hear the birds singing, or feel the wind on your face, remember, it all began with love. With a God who called creation into being and called it good. He created us to be in relationship with him, and he still invites us into that relationship today. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. This is the story of Genesis, the beginning of all things, the beginning of the world, the beginning of humanity, and the beginning of God's plan for redemption.
If this message resonates with you, hit that like button and let the universe know you're ready for your breakthrough. Subscribe to our channel for more transformative insights and guidance on your journey to abundance. Share this video with friends and family who need to hear this today. Let's amplify our positive energy together. Your engagement not only helps us grow but also strengthens the cosmic energy we are building as a community. Together, we can uplift each other and manifest our dreams into reality, one positive action at a time.